Good evening and a warm welcome. I'm Grihatul Siddiqui and you're watching the explosive weekend debate. Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra has been accused of taking cash and expensive gifts from a businessman, Darshan Hiranandani, with whom she allegedly shared her parliament login and password for asking questions in the House. The matter is now with the Ethics Committee of the Lok Sabha, but it does appear to have abandoned Moitra in the face of detractors really weighing heavily on her. Even as the cash for query controversy snowballs, the TMC, which so far had remained silenced, now claims that they have advised Moitra to clarify her position regarding the allegations that have been levelled against her. All this even as BJP goes on to allege the TMC's silence only meant that they had accepted what they are calling Moitra's serious breach. Mahua, on her part, has been left to fend for herself, fight a lone battle, taking veiled digs at not just the centre but also at the investigative bodies. But with an important set of elections round the corner, the cash for query case has already achieved two things it arguably intended to. It has thrown a large question mark at the articulate member of the opposition, in this case Ms. Mahua Moitra, who has time and again stood up in the parliament to ask questions of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also the House of the Adanis. And with evidences posted on a day-wise basis against her, is this now becoming another case of Modi versus them? The latter category being those who are in the dock, whether it is Rahul Gandhi, who nearly lost his Lok Sabha membership over a conviction in a criminal defamation case, to the now arrested Aam Aadmi Party leaders, the trio like Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia and also Sanjay Singh, to now the embattled Member of Parliament of the Trinamool Congress, Mahua Moitra.
We have observed reports in the media. The member concerned has been advised by the party leadership to clarify her position regarding the allegations levelled against
राहुल गांधी कुछ बोलते हैं, महुआ मोत्रा भी कुछ एक ही लाइन लेते हैं। एनआईए को इन्वेस्टिगेट करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये इशू इंटरनेशनल इशू है, क्योंकि इंडियन इकोनॉमी को ठोकने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
Now, before I get ready for my guests on the broadcast, let's actually take a look at what this original complaint against Mahua Moitra has been all about. Remember, this was filed by the Supreme Court advocate, Mr. Dehadre, who was once a friend of Mahua Moitra. She has in fact gone on to call him an jilted ex-lover. And now this is a case of friend turning foe. This is a Supreme Court lawyer who is the estranged partner of Mahua Moitra. He in fact had written to BJP MP Nishikant Dubey alleging that Mahua Moitra was involved in the cash for query scam. In fact, Dehadre also claimed that Mahua Moitra received gifts for posing questions. In fact, there was also a letter that was sent to the Central Bureau of Investigation by Dehadre alleging these very corruption charges and also money laundering case that was submitted. And this copy of the complaint was also given to the Lok Sabha Speaker by Mr. Dubey, who also had a copy of that claim that was made by Mr. Dehadre. He in fact went on to claim that this is Mahua Moitra's bid to cause him to withdraw the complaint. These are the complaints, these are the claims that have been made by the lawyer Dehadre now, that there has been a serious bid by Mahua Moitra's counsel for him to withdraw and coax him to withdraw this complaint that he's filed, not just with the CBI but also shared a copy with the BJP in the case of Mahua Moitra when it comes to this entire scandal that's only snowballing, that is the cash for query scandal. If we take a look at Dehadre's letter to the Central Bureau of Investigation, what is it that the letter entails? He speaks about the gifts that have been received by Mahua Moitra by businessman Hiranandani. He speaks about iPhones, diamonds, emerald jewelry, also Hermes and Louis Vuitton bags and scarves, 35 pairs of Salvatore Ferragamo shoes, dozens of French and Italian wines, also luxury cosmetics from Dubai, Gucci leather bags, also Bolo leather bags. All of this has been part of the complaint. This is the amount of money and the gifts that Mahua Moitra had received from the Hiranandanis on part of her asking questions of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also the Adani group. So that's what we are learning as far as the complaint is concerned. Let me now take this across to my guests who join me on the broadcast. Nighat Abbas, who's the spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Tausif Ahmed Khan, who's a political analyst, leans towards the TMC, is with us. Also with us is Daniel Francis, another political analyst who's joining us on the broadcast. Tausif, I'll begin with you, since there are questions that need to be asked of the Trinamool Congress, which is only now spoken about the member in question. They're not even naming Mahua Moitra. That is what is the statement that's coming out of the TMC. Why are they so scared? Why are they distancing themselves from Mahua Moitra? Are they sure that she is in the dock?
No, there is a official stand by party where we have seen Mr. Derek O'Brien has given a press statement saying that appropriate body of parliament must look into this. This matter is sub judice, and after hearing the outcome from the appropriate body, the party will take a stand. And there seems nothing wrong in that. You know, you cannot pass a judgment only by hearing one party and not giving a chance, opportunity to the other side to present their version of the story. So I think there is nothing wrong in that. Now, so far the entire dispute is concerned, you also know that Mahua Moitra has stated that this has linkage to the Jittered X, and also, you know, there is a question of custody of the pet dog involved in here. So the entire thing, you know, the lesser said, the better it is, because the charges are serious. The unsolicited affidavit is filed by Mr. Hiranandani, and the charges has to be looked into whether it really corroborates the charges against Miss Moitra. So as of now, you know, unless there is a version from the appropriate body of the parliament, the lesser said, the better it is.
But Tausif, even as we look at this case and we wait for the ethics committee to actually call upon Mahua Moitra after they've taken statements from the Hiranandani spokesperson or Mr. Dehadra in this case, it is going to be a due process. But there have been things while we await that. One is this affidavit that you have rightfully spoken about that has come in from the Hiranandanis, earlier distancing themselves from this entire controversy once the story broke, and then coming out and corroborating each and every detail and accusation that has been levelled against Mahua Moitra. Is this not becoming a clear case of quid pro quo? I mean, even as we wait for that entire verdict to come out of the ethics committee, all of this is pointing ample fingers at Mahua Moitra.
Allegations, no doubt, are serious allegations, but mere allegations, you know, without proof. And let me be clear, you know, although I do not have a copy of the, the affidavit, but the contents of the affidavit has been widely published by the media, and in fact there are articles also, which points out that there are we cannot really say that each charges have been corroborated. First, there is no corroboration that cash was given. There's anywhere the cash is involved, and secondly, that the gifts, expensive or luxurious items, were given as a gift. It does not clearly say whether it was given in exchange of getting any favor from the MP. Okay. So those are the nitty-gritties which have to be looked into by the ethics committee, and I'm sure there are other cases. There are other complaints pending before the ethics committee, and one of which involves the BJP MP Mr. Dubey, who is accused of filing a false affidavit indicating his fake degree. So unless the right the body to really comment on this as of now is the ethics committee.
Okay, I'd ask Ms. Nighat Abbas. Nighat Abbas, the fact that Mahua Moitra has been selectively tweeting against not just the Bharatiya Janata Party, but against all of these allegations that have been made against her. The one key point that she goes on to make is against the Ethics Committee. And she says majority of the members of the Ethics Committee are from the BJP. How does one expect a very, very neutral stance to come out of it?
Action speaks louder than words. We've seen that how the opposition has used, ironically, the temple of democracy to literally like a platform to run a racket of questionnaire in exchange of luxury items and a lot of money. Why I'm saying action speaks louder than words is because my friend just told about that, in the affidavit there's no mentioning of that the cash or the kindness, the gift kind was given in the exchange of asking the questions. Do we need to mention that? Because there's not even a single time that Mahua has come up and given a clear and a straight answer as to why did she share the login details of her of her ID to Hiranandani ji, and she also has to come up with an answer that why is that she has sent a legal notice to Mr. Dubey, she has sent a legal notice to Mr. Jay, and she has also sent a legal notice to apparently 15 news channels. But all of a sudden we see that there's not even a single time that she mentioned the name of Hiranandani ji and sent a legal notice to her. She has not even come up and given a straight answer out loud that why is that her lawyer had to call Mr. Jay and ask for him to do the settlement out of the court. We've been seeing the opposition is very desperate. Their desperate behavior of constantly heckling with the government and Adani group and constantly trying to defame has gone literally onto their nerves and blood. And which is why we also saw how Rahul Gandhi's best friend all of a sudden invests in a company. I'm talking about George Soros here. He invests in a company, and in the afternoon Rahul Gandhi does a press conference to talk about the same company when publishes an article against Adani Group. So it is very evident that they have been always standing at the threshold of Parliament and using the Parliament in a different way. They have completely changed and manipulated the line of and the nature of work they've been given. It's a breach of trust, and it's also being disrespectful to the oath when they had taken the chair of the Member of Parliament. It's a constant heckle. They need to come up with an answer, and when they're just trying to spin the spin the ball here and there when they're talking about that the ethics committee has majority of Bharatiya Janata Party's members. You need to come up with a straight answer as to why did you do such things, and why is that you're not sending legal notices to Hiranandani. If you think that
you're also talking in many ways about Mahua Moitra being on the offensive, Ms. Abbas. Let me actually, I will in fact, Nekhad, I will come to you. Let me actually bring in Daniel Francis also on this. Mr. Francis, there is another aspect that is that we see being played out when it comes to this entire controversy. One is this dog deal gone kaput, how Mahua Moitra is dealing with this, it's how somebody's word against the other. But amid all this is also how this is a clear narrative of the Bharatiya Janata Party or Narendra Modi versus the opposition, members of the opposition. We have just seen how Rahul Gandhi almost lost his Lok Sabha membership only to be reinstated later once the charges against him were lifted by the Supreme Court. But we are seeing something similar that is happening, and the BJP in the case of Mahua Moitra and the BJP in the case of Mr. Nishikant Dubey was quick to jump at this opportunity that came to their way by way of this particular complaint that was in fact filed by the lawyer, in this case Mr. Dehadrai. But what had happened in 2005 when many of the BJP MPs were in fact expelled from the house, at that time it was BJP walking out of that vote saying that this is a harsher punishment, this should not be done. And even if they have done something as cash for query, this was another case that had blown out in 2005, there can be a lesser severe punishment in this particular case. How does one see these two stances by the Bharatiya Janata Party?
I think we have not learnt anything after the 2005 cash for vote scams, where MPs were seen taking money to ask questions, and that scam really exposed this system thoroughly. And the question before the Parliament, in particular Parliament, I say, when it is opposition and the government and the speaker, is to restore the dignity and the credibility of the House both the houses in front of the people. Here what is happening is that again we are seeing a member of parliament compromising, allegedly compromising her position and her power. These are very serious offences in mature democracy, where you are taking money to ask questions, or you are supporting a particular corporate group, or you are giving your login ID to people who are not member of parliaments, so that they can log in from your accounts, unauthorized people, and frame questions on your behalf.
Do you think this is the trend?
As democracy, we are
Do you think
disgusted.
This is the trend, Mr. Francis? Because
Mahua Moitra,
Mr. Francis, because Mahua Moitra,
allow me to complete.
Yeah, because what Mahua Moitra has also said on this login ID query was that her allegation is that why not go ahead and ask and check each and every MP whether at the time of asking questions their login ID was given to somebody else or not. That's the counter that's coming in from Mahua Moitra. Do you think this has become kind of a trend and there needs to be more investigation that needs to be done in this particular case?
Mahua Moitra, no. Mahua Moitra is, I don't know whether she's guilty or not, but she's definitely diverting the allegations that are coming her way.
Okay.
She has to answer the questions that the people of India and the case is really posing at her. You know, if she has given the login ID to somebody who's unauthorized and who's not a person and who's using that a login ID to frame questions that are in his interest, this is absolutely breach of your conduct and breach of the trust of the people of India and the voters that have put her in that place. It feels so unsure, and definitely I'm very quite disgusted that you people who are in opposition, your job is to put the government on mat, your job is to expose the government, and here you are being exposed with them, and you have no credibility left for the kind of questions that you could ask, the kind of issues that you could raise. Why are you playing? You have to play for the people of India, not for some corporate group who wants to bring the other person down.
Mr. Francis, while we are at that, I'd like to understand this one thing. Does each and every member of parliament, including Ms. Mahua Moitra, even as she faces this cash for query scam, investigation, does she have that constitutional immunity? Is her speech, her statement in the parliament paramount that she cannot be persecuted? And is the Supreme Court yet to look at the 1998 judgment? Because that's an important question. Because from what I understand, as per Article 105, a member of parliament cannot be persecuted even if he or she chooses to go ahead and take money for some questions that they choose to ask on the floor of the House. How does one deal with this important loophole that the parliamentarians have in their favor?
You gave me a fine example. You said 2005 cash for vote scams. When they were punished, the BJP thought that the punishment was very harsh. Who is making these laws for themselves? The MPs are making these laws for themselves. They are deciding that what is harsh or what is not harsh. If a public servant has taken money to award a contract or to bring down a tender of another company in favor of another person, that anti-corruption bureau will move, the person may lose his job, there are serious consequences. Then why aren't there serious consequences toward member of parliaments, legislative members, MLAs, if they are asking questions that are not in the interest of public but in their own interest after taking money from somebody? It's a very important question. MPs are known for drafting laws for themselves that suit their own interest, whether it is persecution or not. Okay. They cannot.
Nigat, would you like to take that?
Democracy.
Would you like to take that? Considering the Bharatiya Janata Party is also looking at some sort of a strong action against Mahua Moitra, what is the kind of action that you're looking at, or you're choosing that she should be actually dealt with an iron hand? What is the kind of action? Is it an expulsion through vote? A vote that you guys kept out of in 2005? Nigat. 1 second. I'll come back to you, Mr. Francis.
Yeah. No, 1 second. 1 second.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Francis. I've given you enough time. 1 second. Yes, Nigat.
the parliament has seen it all, from cash for vote to cash for query now. And when we say that, yes, we are looking for a serious, because she's done her serious offence, it's very important for us to be able to understand that it's not only the code of conduct with the parliament and within the parliament, it's also a breach of trust for the people who have elected her. When you go as a representative of the people and ask for vote, people, put in trust in you, and they always seek that you'd be the one person that would go in the parliament and raise questions from the Lok Sabha. Apparently, this lady, Mahua Moitra, has raised questions 61 times, and out of 61 questions, she's raised 50 questions related to Adani Group. Where were the, the subjects which could have come from her Lok Sabha? We need to know that when there's a breach of trust amongst the people, within the people, from the people, we need to realize that there will be the people of India now who would be, questioning themselves as to, is there a possibility?
Yes, but what
for
is
them
the
to be
action
able
that
to
you're
believe
looking
the
at?
opposition's question?
Once these issues,
it is
once
for the
these
ethics committee to
accusations are
decide.
proven, what is the action that you're looking at? Because like Mr. Francis rightly mentioned, these are laws that are governed, the parliamentarians are governed by the laws that they make for themselves. It's a very convenient exercise. If you choose to expel her through vote, she will get expelled, but there'll be no prosecution against her because she has that constitutional immunity.
We are looking for an action. We are looking. It's not only about us, it's for the people, and all of us are looking for an action which can once again help the people of India to believe that the questions which are being raised by the opposition against the government are not cosmetically made and are not being funded. They are actually in the favor of the people's development. That is exactly what we want. It's a serious offence, and for people to believe and for not any other to be able to repeat this kind of offence, we need an action which can give a lesson learned for this lady and any other member of parliament.
How was it different during cash for query scam when the Cobra Post had put out the sting operation in 2005? There were many BJP members involved in that, taking money for asking questions in the parliament.
See, which is why I am saying that it is very important for every member of parliament to have a lesson that yes, if there's something, a breach of trust which has been made in the parliament and a model code of conduct has been happened, there has to be a lesson for everybody, and so that nobody else repeats. Everyone is equal before the law, either of the court or the parliament. So we need that kind of thing.
Okay, Tausif, this entire affidavit part that I again come back to, which is putting Mahua in the dock when it comes to all the investigations that go against her, in fact will be in fact probed further. Nothing is in her favor, and that is why the TMC probably is measuring its words from not saying anything in Mahua's favor to now saying that the party is going to come up with something, release a statement, and the concerned member is going to be responding. She has to go through the due process. Had it been any other case, the TMC would have been the first political party to talk about gagging of dissent, to talk about how there has been a high-handedness of central agencies and how the central government is against misusing forces like the Central Bureau of Investigation for that matter. All of that is surprisingly missing this time. Why do you think that is?
You see, that can only be answered by the party themselves. As of now, I also know as much as you know, where Derek O'Brien has said that at the appropriate time, party will release a statement depending on the outcome of the ethics committee. You see, the law applies equally to all until proven guilty. The accused is presumed innocent, and therefore Ms. Mahua Moitra is an innocent until she is proven guilty.
But why is there no rallying for your member of parliament is what my question is. Because had it been any other case, the TMC would have been quick to jump to the defense of Mahua Moitra. In fact, it was working well for the TMC when she was raising several questions against Prime Minister Narendra Modi or the Adani Group. But now somehow it doesn't. Why is that?
Frankly, I have no answer to that. In fact, it is a very... you have very rightly pointed out. In fact, Nigat mentioned that Ms. Mahua Moitra asked more than 60 questions on one particular topic. So, for being persistent on some issue, raising questions again and again when no satisfactory answers is provided, I personally feel that the Speaker of the Parliament should have recognized this persistence and given her some award. But regardless of that, now that there are allegations, it is the Ethics Committee who has to deal with it, and it is the MP herself who has to give her defense.
Mr. Francis, I'll give you the last word. I'd like to understand that this complaint that was filed by Jayanand Dehadrai, the letter was sent to Nishikant Dubey. BJP was quick to take it up and give it to the Privileges Committee of the Parliament, hand it over to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, without doing any kind of background check. It later turned out that these people were in a relationship, the relationship went sour, this was a case of a dog deal gone kaput, probably, all of that was coming by and by, as Mahua Moitra has been a very, very articulate and vocal critique of not just the government, but she's been very vocal about defending herself as well. Don't you think that BJP could have done enough background check rather than just jumping to that conclusion that she is guilty? Don't you think this also is going to be taken as one articulate member asking questions of the Bharatiya Janata Party and they want to do away with her through a controversy like this?
See, anybody is educated or articulate or vocal, gives them no right or can't give them a clean chit of being either ethical or morally right in their position. Not just because you have the knack of speaking and speaking out very well, that doesn't mean that you are a truthful person. That's a different argument altogether. But what would the BJP done? Do you think that they should have just sat on the complaints? These were serious complaints. Any citizen, whether related or unrelated, aggrieved or unaggrieved, sometimes the scams or issues like these really come out of fights between two people, two groups. We are seeing. I am remembering, if you read about it, the Dhirubhai Ambani and the Ambani and the Nasli Wadia fight, where politics was divided on both sides. But I am telling you, even in those fights, no party can be accused, no MPs can be accused of taking money. Politics was divided. Politics was divided. You can take a position in favor or against anybody.
So you are saying it is definitely a convenient exercise for the Bharatiya Janata Party. It was a fight between these two people.
As people of India,
past friends now turned foes, and this is BJP is getting the better of that fight, and that is what is coming out in the open. We'll only get to know what does the Ethics Committee really decide, because right now what is happening through the series of investigations which will now come up and the kind of evidences that have been put forth in the public domain, things are all about statements, one against the other. What is and who is speaking the truth is only going to be revealed in the time to come. What happens to the membership of Mahua Moitra and her membership of TMC as a political party is something that is still hanging in the dock. We leave it at that. I'd like to thank all my guests on the broadcast for joining me on the explosive weekend debate. That's it from my side. Thank you so much for watching.